So
we're going back on the rules again. Please ensure you are on mute at all times. The host will have access to that as well. Feel free to type in your questions in the chat when we open the chat up. And we hope that you stay with us through the session. Thank you very much. And Sujit, over to you.
okay, thank you, Katie. Hi, Makarand. Thank you for coming on this masterclass. In these times like these, it must be very busy for you managing both, the work from home and the forced quarantine, as well as there will be so many others who will be wanting to know how to find the right balance of managing these times where you're troubled by what's happening around you, you're troubled by the environment, you're troubled by the way work is happening versus what you used to, and at the same time the family getting used to managing you working from home. I think it's a very important topic that you're touching upon, and we're happy to hear from you. Apart from you being a good friend, I think I've always picked up your brains for certain things which require some kind of business understanding. So I'm happy you're talking to us because you would bring in the whole business aspect of things, also the aspect of thing of how about working with teams and uh, managing family life. I think you're going to speak more. I should rather allow others to listen to you than me. But before we start with you, I think Ketki can do a little introduction about you. Be nice.
Thanks, Sujit.
Thank you very much. It, I think, is indeed a great to have you with us today. And it's a great time to reflect a little, to learn a little. So thank you, Makarand, for doing this. And just to quickly let everybody on the call know, Makarand is a professional with over 23 plus years of experience and with a well-rounded understanding of simple and smart. And I think that's his mantra. Mac is the founder and chief executive coach of Equipoise, an executive coaching and business consulting firm. In the process of enterprise creation, be it launching a startup to key account management. His specialty is observation and finding patterns in behavior, both in people and businesses. And this helps him connect the dots and see the bigger picture. He likes to come straight to the point and never hesitates to ask a question with a simple motto of when in doubt. All his corporate roles have been at leadership levels, and his last corporate assignment as Vice President Learning Solutions was with Berkeley, a healthcare education startup. He has a unique distinction of large MNCs and startups and can easily toggle between the rigid framework and ambiguity. He's worked with Johnson & Johnson as key account manager, a role that was specifically designed for him to set up a large account management process for one of its divisions. Sales and designing sales strategies is an area of expertise for Mac, and he loves to help sales teams succeed. And I hope all of us today is balancing unbalanced to learn a little more about that. Verb intrigues him, and it's BS. He says that coaching facilitation that guides and brings insights and for businesses and people. Create constructs that can keep him existing. And extremely important beliefs of impact. I think we're going to see a lot of it today. Just to kind of sum this up a little more in terms of his a little.
Ketki, your voice is.
I think Ketki's audio is a little off, but I think the bio can be seen on the slide too. And I think the best person to talk about yourself will be you yourself, Makarand. So why don't you begin?
Okay, thanks, Sujit. So I don't want to talk about myself. It kind of looks a little too narcissistic to talk about myself. Thanks, Ketki, for doing the introduction. And if everybody,
I think it's important to put a little light on that because it's new. And also, especially, sorry, before I think I got disconnected there. I think especially for the Hansa team and everybody else who has joined in, it's a time where we would love to learn how to balance the unbalanced. So please go ahead and over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Katie. So first of all, thank you everybody for making time today. I know everybody is trying to juggle multiple things at this moment, whether it is home, work, or everything in between, and trying to maintain sanity. So thanks to take your time out and be here. And like Ketki mentioned, we will have a short presentation, and it's more about you and I, not just me, and we will have an interactive discussions. More questions, the better, so that we can find solutions and find strategies to manage through this trying times. Ketki, I just wanted to check with you whether you will be recording this, and if not, you could start.
Yes, we're recording it and
Okay,
we're recording it and we'll, yeah.
sure, lovely. So I'll jump right into the topic and balancing the unbalance. And the topic today is to see how we can balance this. And to begin with, I would like to take help of a great master like Buddha. I do claim to be a coach, but I think Buddha was the original coach of the world. And there's a story that Buddha, it's very famous from Buddha. It's about one of his disciples, and he were traveling through the jungle. And they passed through a stream, and the stream is extremely beautiful, cold, nice. They pass through it, they walk through it, and they go a little distance. And Buddha then says that I am a little thirsty. Can you get water from me from that stream that we passed some time back? And the disciple says that, but that water was really murky when we passed through it. How can I actually give you that water? And Buddha says, no, I want water from that stream itself. The disciple, being a disciple of Buddha, just walks back, goes to the stream, and sees that the stream is still a little murky, and then a herd of cattle passes through, and the water becomes extremely muddy. And he says, how can I give this kind of water? It will be wrong for me. So he runs back and says, Buddha, there is another river ahead, say about a kilometer away from here, and I'll get you water from there. Buddha insists, no, I want water from that stream itself. Please go back. And now if you find the stream muddy, just sit there. And the disciple, being a humble person and obedient, goes back, again sees the stream a little dirty, but now he cannot go back. So he sits there for some time, and some hours pass. And after some time, the water clears out. And then he takes the bowl, fetches the water, gives it to Buddha. And while going back, he realizes that something deep has been taught to him. And he says, why did you insist that I stay at the stream and get water from the same stream? And Buddha said that when we are going through troubled times, our mind is extremely hazy like that muddy stream. Unless and until we sit down and calm ourselves, we cannot get clarity. And today's objective is that all of us are going through a trying times. It is a pushed out situation for every one of us, that we are dealing with things at home, things at office, things in the neighborhood, things that we were not supposed to deal with, have to be dealing with. And in all of that, we have to start to keep our mind cool. And the invitation to all of you is that wait at the bank of the stream and see if your mind clears up, and then we can clearly find some strategies. So let's jump right into it. Digital and remote is going to be the new normal. There's no going away from it. People who hated it have got accustomed to it. People who liked it are loving it. People who loved it are kind of getting tired of it, because now it's too much. Because earlier it was an edge, now it's commonplace. So everybody has a digital device, and everybody is talking about how to make work efficient, how to make things more better, how to get more out of the same hours that we have been working. And we all know that, and let's not kid ourselves, in corporate world, the productivity has always been suspect. There are research which says that about 2 to 3 hours is the maximum productivity an individual gives in a corporate job. Now, this is done by Harvard, not by me. And that's because we have a lot of wastage and distraction in the office environment. But now that we are at home, everybody is expecting us to do more. Even we are expecting ourselves to do more, because I'm at home, which means I need to show that I'm productive. I need to prove something to my employer or to my business that I'm getting something done out of my time. And that's extremely daunting and taxing. And that takes away the balance. We are trying to either get into the extreme of doing a lot of work, or some of us are getting stuck in doing not able to move from where we are. And that's a tough place to be. What earlier used to happen was we used to take our home to the work, and people from home used to call us for something, and we could always disconnect the call and say, call me later, I'll do that later, I'm busy. But now we are all exposed, isn't it? We are working from home. The home is demanding our time. The children at home, if you have, are demanding. Your parents, your spouse, your partners, whoever is around the house is demanding your time, and they want you to do something for them, because after a long, long time, you are actually at home and they are expecting you to spend time with them. But you have to work and you got to produce results. So how do you actually get out of this situation? But the point is, you cannot get out of this situation. It is what it is. It has always been like that. Now we are just doing everything sitting in one place. So let's look at how we can deal with this situation. Like I said, we have work, we have business results, and like Sujit mentioned, we all need to present and bring out business results. So I'm trying to see if I can bring the business aspect of the family life into this presentation, and see if we can succeed at the end of the day. Yeah, the responsibilities have remained same. Yeah, we are expected to do things just the way we are. Probably the responsibilities have increased, not from family, but from business, from customers. Everybody wants answers. And if you are in leadership position, I think this is a time when you got to show your best leadership traits, because this is the place where you're going to be differentiated from other leaders. Organizations are struggling at this moment to find the balance. How do we keep our employees motivated? How do we keep them engaged? Everything is about sales, numbers, 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 and business. And rightfully it has to be. But what about the person? What are they dealing with? And we will delve a little deeper into this topic as we move along. I have broadly categorized the responsibilities into three areas, and we can add some more if we like to. But the first is family and self. What about me? What about my family? How am I going to deal in this situation? The second is about the team and being a team member and being a team leader. Some of you are team managers, some of you are business leaders, some of you are team leaders in regions, and you have some members responsible who are looking up to you. So how do you behave and act in this situation? And last is business results. The business still wants to survive. It needs to continue. It needs results. It needs money to survive. The economy is not in the best shape. The government is trying to do some stimulus. Today afternoon, we had some discussions around the stimulus, and we had a stock market which suddenly went up. But that's less. More things need to happen in business. But we are worried about our customers, our business. What do we do about that? So let's deal with this. Again, I'll take help from another great master. This one is from ancient Greek philosophy called Epictetus. He's a Greek Stoic philosopher. Stoicism is a science of being calm and composed in every situation, not getting affected by things around you. Because only when you get affected does it start impacting you. If you're unaffected and deal with it in a more mature and a more conscious way, then that can help you deal with those situations in a very, very nice way. And Stephen Covey has said that, are we going to respond? Are we going to react? This is the time we are going to put it to test. Are we responding to the situation or are we reacting to it? Some days we react, some people we react with, and some businesses we are responding. Some people are coming up and doing things differently. What does Epictetus teach us? He talks about a dichotomy of control. A dichotomy of control, as the word suggests, is control looking at control from two dimensions. And the two dimensions are things that are in your control and things not in your control. Things that are in our control is how we behave, how we act, the discipline that we maintain. Do we maintain the same time schedules even if we are working from home? Are we getting up at the same time? Are we getting dressed up? Some people are saying if you dress up and sit, like I'm sitting with a coat right now to look the part and making it more serious. I could have sat in a t-shirt. And my wife said, but you're going to meet 100 people on the seminar. You should not be sitting in a t-shirt. And then I listened to her, and then Sujit acknowledged that I look good on this. So thank you very much. I listened to my wife. That's mantra number one, not in my control. That's beyond my control. So I listen. Yeah, I think most of us do the same thing. What is not in our control? When is this lockdown going to be lifted? Will customers continue buying from us? Will we have employment in the future? Things beyond our control. Difficult things, but we can't control the outcomes there. So we got to be able to identify things in our life. At the moment, if you could take an inventory, it will not take more than 15-20 minutes to look at what are the things in your control, and just focus on the things that in your control. You would have sorted out a large part of how you work, and it is extremely easy. You just have to sit down with a pen and paper and make 2 columns, just in my control, not in my control, and just start writing down and act on only things that are in your control. Don't look at anything else. It's as simple as I say it, but you have to do it to learn it. Yeah. Now that we have learned something about control, what can we do about it? Yeah. There has been multiple views in, and if you look at some Facebook posts or sometimes WhatsApp forwards, some people are extremely happy with this situation. Some people are indifferent, and some people are frustrated that when is this going to be lifted? I'm missing my office life. I'm missing going out into the field. Sales guys, I'm sure there are a lot of sales people on this call. We all like to go out in the field and meet customers. There is something that there's a charm in meeting a customer and getting an order done. But that we are missing at the moment. We are not getting that physical push. The environment is not allowing us to do that. The only thing that we can do in this situation is accept. There is no other choice. If we accept what is happening around us, that will help us deal with it. So first look at what is in your control, what is not in my control, and then accept that things which are beyond my control, I can't do anything about it. Let us be extremely clear about it. Let us accept and make peace with it. There's no point in resisting with it because it's not going to change. All it's going to add is frustration, anger, fights, sorry faces, difficult people at home, bosses chasing your for numbers. Everything is going to be difficult. So first, learn to accept. Let's now look at the 3 areas that we wanted to touch base upon. So family and self. This is, I think to me, this is more important. These results will happen. Right now, they are a little shaky, but they will come. We will find ways of how to do that. But family and self, it's all about a time. Like I said, we are now at home and people are looking at us. They're looking up to us. We are physically present, but are we emotionally present with the people at our home? The presence has to be 2 ways. It cannot be a body just moving around from one room to another and say, I have a call, don't disturb me. I'm working. Yes, you're working, but you're at home. So we are now encroached on territories which were not ours. Working professionals are actually have to be thankful that they have a home where work is allowed to be done, because not everybody has the luxury and liberty to do that. So if members at your home are allowing you to do your work peacefully, then be thankful to that. Don't try to impose your rules saying that this is my time and this is my office work. No, it is their office, their home. It just happens to be a rented office place for you for the time being. And maintaining the discipline that, are you getting it on time? Are we doing the same things that we did on an office going day? If not, we'll go into a habit which will be difficult to break. So my suggestion is still wake up on the same time. Don't be lazy. Exercise if you want to. Do everything that you used to do, but do it indoors. All that you could do. Again, in my control, not in my control. Whatever is in your control in that discipline, do it. It will help you. Now let's look at 4 ways of how we can deal with this situation. First is manage your calendar. People who know me, and I'll speak for myself, I am kind of a maniac in terms of managing time and calendar because I slot everything. Everything before and after has to be slotted. Even if you have to go outside and buy vegetables, then it has to go on a calendar. The reason being, it's not that you have an OCD about it, but if somebody else asks you time, and if you are told some family member, I'll come along with you and buy vegetables and groceries, and somebody wants your time to schedule a Zoom call or a conference call, you can always look at the calendar and say, I'm busy, I need to do some housework because that is also necessary. Can I do this call before or after? And trust me, people agree with you because you are valuing your time. Others will start valuing your time as well and their time as well. Schedule everything. Time with your family members. You can schedule that today 3 o'clock we are going to sit and discuss something about the next holiday that we are going to do. Anything that is on the agenda which you used to do earlier on a dinner table, you can schedule it as a time, and you don't have to work yourself to death. Just because you're at home doesn't mean you have to work 13 hours. I know some of us are doing that and it's necessary for the roles that we play, but all of us don't need to do that. We can lie low little and give time to our family members. Yeah. We will delve into this in Q&A if you have doubts around this. Yeah. These are my thoughts, and they are not the best thoughts or the perfect thoughts, but this is just one way of how I look at dealing with the situation. Create mini projects with self or with family members. With self, it could be exercising, losing weight. It could be doing something related to sketching. A lot of people are starting their arts and it's being shared on Facebook, in social media. Some people have started singing. Some people have started stock trading. My son is starting to learn how to work the stock market. Now he's 16 years old and he says, I want to learn this. And I helped him with an app and he's trying to mini trade as mock trading, and money control gives 1 crore rupees in your bank account, uh, fake money, of course. And he's playing around and said, I told him that if he could make money after the end of 30 days, I'll actually give him real money to invest in the stock market. Now that's keeping him excited. He has his college from home and he's learning, and he's learning something new, which I'm sure he wouldn't have learned otherwise if he didn't have this situation. So think about all the small projects that you could do with yourself and with your family members. Emotional check-ins. Now it's not just about sending WhatsApp message and how do you do or how are you doing. The question that you need to ask people is, how are you feeling? Because people are not able to deal with this in a most strong way, or a way that is helping them grow. Some people are getting frustrated. Some people are getting emotionally disturbed. Some people are stuck in homes that they don't want to be stuck in. There are challenges that they had at home, and their only reprieve was to go out of the home and work from office or work from an outside environment. Now they're at home. Talk to your friends, talk to your family members, spend time with them and check how they are feeling, because that's equally important. Not just what they are doing to keep themselves busy, but what's happening in their hearts. Can you do something about it? Be available to people emotionally, because this is a time to be emotionally present, not just physically present. Last is about learning. What can you learn? A new skill. So many courses available. I'm sure you must have also got a barrage of WhatsApp which says that Harvard has given some course, Udemy is giving certain course, Government of India is giving certain libraries free. How are you utilizing your time to own that skill that you always wanted to have but complained that you never had the time? Now you have the time. Are you putting it into a calendar that I would like to learn something new? Or what are you learning about yourself? If you're dealing it well, you've found that you're resilient to this situation. If you're not dealing with it in the nice way, you know there's something that needs to change, because this is a real situation. We are going to deal with this continuously. It's not going away, at least for some time. In Mumbai, it's nationally it is 3rd of May, but we don't know whether it is going to get extended or not. We have to be prepared for the worst and start dealing with it in a more resilient way. Let's look at the other two aspects which we spoke about, which is the team. I'll first deal with team as a team manager or team leader. And I'm sure there are a lot of team leaders here. And this is a time. I got 5 strategies here. Again, we can add some more as we have the Q&A. The first one that I look at is knowing your team. Not what the team members are doing. As now, are they making enough call? Are they making enough customer connects? But who the people are, who are they? What is there going on in their head? Just like we are doing with family members, we need to know our team a little more better. What's going on in their heads? What's happening in their world? This is a time to get connected with your team members. Yeah. The second thing that you could do is schedule one-to-ones with them. Just like this Zoom call, have a 20-minute one-to-one with your team members individually, and identify if you don't know about their dreams, aspirations, fears, the feelings that they're dealing with. Look at that. Once we start talking to a person, your team becomes extremely bonded. Some of you might already be doing that in the earlier environment, but here is a chance to do it again in a more deeper level. But because once you are back in the normal environment, all this information that we are finding about our teams is going to be extremely helpful to deal with our people and engage with them in a better way. Yeah, customize your leadership. Uh, Normally, leadership is one brushstroke for all, but each one of us deal with things differently. So now we could deal with individual members in a different form. We can talk to them about their fears and then lead and deal with them in a different manner. Somebody needs love, somebody needs a push, somebody needs galis, and somebody needs structure. All of us require different ways to be led. And you as a leader can find out ways what is the best thing that can work with your leader and your team as a leader. This is one which is a golden thing. I saw some of my coaches and clients have also joined in, and I always say this: ask more, tell less. As bosses, we like to give answers. We think we are the most knowledgeable and the most superhuman people in this world, and we have all the answers on our fingertips. I just want problems and I'll solve them. That gives you a sense of feeling that makes you feel superhuman. But no, don't do that. Not even in the olden environment, and in the current environment even more. Ask more. What's happening? Ask people questions. Ask them how they are dealing with it. Ask them what is their way of looking at the situation. And you'll be surprised what your team members will come with solutions from. You don't need to have all the answers. So ask more and tell less. Coach and mentor. This is the time that each leader can be a coach and a mentor. This is the time all of us can be coaches and mentors, not just professional coaches, but each manager can be a coach by listening and talking to people and setting clear expectations. This is not a picnic. We are all at home. We need to generate results, but we need to set expectations that whatever has been told to you, whatever job has been assigned to team members, have to be done. And if they don't do that, they'll get a slap on their hands. And if they do it, there's a reward or there's an appreciation at the end of it. But set clear expectations with your team, whether it is targets, whether it is calling customers, whether it is doing something, some activity, whether it is making sure your dispatches are happening on time, making sure your training schedules are happening on time. People have to be accountable and have to be held accountable, and you have to set expectations to that. Without expectations, everybody thinks that somebody will do it and nobody does it, and as a leader all the burden comes back to you, and then you try to be the superhuman and do it. That's not the best strategy as a leader. Yeah? Now let's look at as a team member. Yeah, I'm trying to go. Ketki, is the speed okay, or should I lower the pace?
I think you're going fine.
No, I think we're good.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
just wanted to check. Let's look at team as a team member. Yeah, all of us, even if we are leaders, we are somebody's team member. We are a team member of our organization. So it applies to all of us. Yeah, and let's look at again 5 strategies or 5 ways we can deal with this situation. First is contribute. This is the time to give generously. Don't ask, give. Everybody needs help. If you can shoulder some more responsibility for your teammates who are having difficult times dealing and working from home, pick up the slack. Don't try to say this is not my job, it was her job and his job, it's beyond my job area. No, just step up and do the work that needs to be done. This is for the organization. Be a good team member. Just do it. Don't wait for excuses saying that I can't do it. Learn how to do it, but pick up the slack. Just give generously, give your time. Respect, live it out in every interaction. All of us are learning to connect on Zoom, and not everybody is accustomed to doing video conferencing. So we got to respect everybody's time. We have a tendency to speak a lot, all of us together, especially in conference calls. All of us have dealt with those. When we do it with clients, everybody tries to speak. Here we are respecting each other and waiting for others to complete so that we can speak. So respect each other's time. Be on time when meetings are scheduled. Respect that we are here for a purpose. We are supposed to deliver some certain results. So if you are expected to do something, do it on time. Don't wait for something or somebody to scold you or push you to do it. Just do it because you're respecting everybody's authority and everybody's work ethic by doing so. Accountability. Rise up to be a reliable person. Accountability, again, a lot of leaders whom I coach always say that my team, I can't get them to do what they want to do. Now, the problem is not the leader. The problem is sometimes the team member, because the team leader always picks up the slack. And so the team member can always be a little less accountable and say, somebody else will do it. Somebody else will push me and remind me to do this activity. I don't need to put a calendar reminder for doing this. My boss will tell me at 5 o'clock that I am supposed to send something at 7 o'clock. And I'll make an excuse that I'm at a customer's place, so I'll send it at 8 o'clock. Doesn't this happen in everyone's life? But that's not the best productive way of working. Be a reliable person. Be a person whom somebody can bank on, that if somebody has told me to do something, I'm going to do it on time, in full. And that's something makes you accountable. This is a chance to shine so that something in the future can come to you and you could be a team leader. You could be having a promotion. You could have certain good things happening to you in the behavior that you're showing as a team member in this environment. Everybody's getting watched. Everybody is getting measured. So be clear. If you don't understand, like Ketki mentioned in my bio, when in doubt, ask. Don't assume anything. Yeah, don't assume anything, because assumption makes an ass of you and me. Ask people, I don't understand it. Do you want it by this time? Do you want it this way? Do you want it an Excel sheet? Do you want me to call that customer? Do you want me to do this? Ask, ask, ask. Don't try to be annoying, because if you know, you should do it, but try and ask so that you're clear of what is expected out of you. Because if you don't know, you're going to do a shoddy job, and it's going to make people more frustrated, including yourself. And time is the most dear resource at the moment. Yeah. Ownership, perform to win. Be an extreme. There is a book called as Extreme Ownership. Yeah. Which talks about you have to step up. You cannot say that somebody had to do it and that person was supposed to do it and this did not happen. I didn't get a call. Own up. If something fails, own it up. If something succeeds, share the credit. But own up. Be a winner. Try to work as if you're trying to win something. And I'm good get into business results, but that's what I think Sujit is waiting for. How do you get business results in this time? So let me jump into right there. Yes, it's tough. Yeah, all of us are dealing with a downside. Customers don't want to do things that they plan to do. Physical events are going away, and we have events company here, and now events are happening on a digital platform. Physical events are getting pushed. Trainings are getting pushed. Customer acquisition, customer purchases are getting pushed, but we still need to provide certain results. Results don't mean orders. Results mean we got to be in the customer's place all the time in a nice way. So here are again a few ways of dealing with this. And I'm sure we'll have more questions around this, because everybody wants to perform and generate money, because that's what keeps everything running. Yeah. Customer management in this situation, I think this is the best opportunity to show your customer management side. Don't try to sell anything, just solve problems. Because nobody wants to be sold to in this environment, unless it is a life-saving drug that you're selling, unless that is extremely essential. But even the Bajiwala is not selling you. You are going to the Bajiwala and buying Baji at the moment. Nobody's home delivering anything. So just serve and solve the customer's problem. The problems could be anything. It could be in supply chain. It could be in healthcare. It could be in events. It could be in any domain. Everybody is dealing with something at the moment. And if you could be of service, the customers are going to remember you, that you played the best part, and then they will come back to you when the right time comes. But you got to be there to serve your customers. There's no better time to do it right now. You should always be doing it, but this is the best time to show it and shine through. Show compassion. Like I said, everybody is not dealing with emotionally well. Treat everyone with kid gloves. Be gentle. Be gentle. Be emotionally connected. Here, something about emotional intelligence, and I just had a webinar that I attended about emotional intelligence a few days back, and it speaks about four things. It's not on the slide, but I thought I'll share this with you. One, we have to be extremely self-aware. How am I dealing with this situation? What is happening with me? Second is self-management. What will I do in this situation? About yourself, because everybody deals with it differently. Third is social awareness. How are people around you dealing with it? And fourth is relationship management. Once you know how people are dealing with it, what is happening in their world, you can manage those relationships in a better way. But if you try to bulldoze things in the way that is expected because everybody wants numbers and sales, I think this is a time sales professionals, and I am a sales professional to the core. I love doing it. This is a time to be the best person available for the customer to solve their problem. Just be gentle. Yeah, just be there for them, like always. Be flexible. Uh, Customers are going to demand things from you which you would not like at this moment. Yeah, customers might ask something, maybe ask discounts, maybe ask you to delay, might not pay you on time. A lot of things might happen in this environment. Be flexible about it, because the situation is grim for all of us. It's across the board, but don't be a pushover. Don't try to get bulldozed and somebody taking advantage of this situation because you're just being nice. Identify those boundaries where you can give and where you cannot give, and be explicitly clear to the customers. Like I said, customers are also in the same boat. They will understand. And if that customer doesn't understand, is trying to push you over, I don't think that was a customer that you wanted to deal with in the first place. I don't think that's the customer you want to keep in your basket, unless it is genuinely necessary and it is true that what they're asking for is something genuine. If not, if I was the person, I would probably knock the customer out of my customer list, because I don't think we deal with each other in the same way. We are not sharing the same vibe, the values, or the principles that we agreed to work in the first place. Measure everything. Yeah, this is something which, again, as a sales professional or as a business professional, unless you measure, things don't happen. Review it at a higher frequency, whether it is dashboards, reports, number of customers to be called, sales to be done every day, receivables to be covered, whatever those key performance indices are, measure them with higher frequency so that you can actually make your ship a little more tighter when you come back into the business in full steam. This is going to take some time to come back. World economies are struggling to recover. India is a resilient country. We have gone through worse things. I think we are going to come out extremely strong out of this, because a lot of good things and a lot of things that people never did are they're doing now. They're learning skills which will help their businesses and themselves as individuals. Because if it is helping them, it is going to help their businesses. So that's how I will deal with this and acknowledge. There are a lot of people in our organizations who always like to take credit, the frontliners, especially the sales guys, the customer facing people. But today's the times have turned. Yeah, the supply chain guys, the back-end people, the operations guys, the support function. I think those are the heroes. Yeah, those guys are actually managing the entire business on their shoulders. They're making things work. They're making things move stock from here and there. They're making sure warehouses are open. They're making sure it is stocked well. They're making sure that stuff is being given to the customer at the right time. The engineering teams, the supply chain support teams, the application support teams in healthcare, the IT teams. These are the people who are making it work. We all are on Zoom right at the moment, but there is an IT guy who is kind of fretting at the moment. What if it just crashes down? Do I have enough space that this can get recorded? Is there enough bandwidth happening? What am I going to do? So these are the things which people are working. So acknowledge your team members. If you haven't done so, please make sure after this call all your support functions and call them and thank them that what they're doing. It's not just about the doctors and the other workers that we have been acknowledging. Within your organization, there are people that need to be acknowledged, and maybe you have not done it so far. If you haven't, do it. If you have done it, great, continue doing it. That will help them and encourage them to do more. So how do we actually get this work-life balance? Yeah, there is no easy answer to this. If you have heard Sadhguru, he says there is no work-life balance. There is only life, and work happens inside it. So the balance is internal. Unless and until we make ourselves balance internally, that I am responsible for my family, I'm responsible for my team as a team leader, as a team member, and I'm responsible for business results. I need to slot myself out extremely disciplined way. The balance has to happen internally. The actions are external. The time scheduling is external. The amount of hours that you put out is external. But unless the balance happens here, it won't work. You will always be under duress, always be under pressure. And that's not the best place to be, because it's going to affect your health. And we don't want that to happen. Yeah. Thank you very much. That's about it about my slides. I'm open to take questions. Sujit, over to you.
Right. I think I'm going to take over for a little bit before I let Sujit speak. And I think such a wonderful, if I may say, refreshing change to what all of us have been speaking for so long, for the past 20-25 days, that we've been discussing how is it that we can adapt into this situation, how is it that we can work better, be more productive, things like that. So I think this was a great change to that. So thank you very much. I think three things that I take back, which is acceptance, empathy, and acknowledging the efforts. And I'm sure everybody has their own, pointers that they've taken back. But here is where I want to probably speak about, the situation we are in. Like you said, there's no work-life balance, or like Sadhguru said, there's no work-life balance all life, and we need to learn how to manage it. It's a time where, for us, and if I may speak sorry, before that, yes, the chat is open for questions. Kindly put in your questions there, and then we'll take it from there. So, there's so much of uncertainty, and especially for us, in the event space, where we're trying to figure that if more than 10 people can't meet at the same time, what new or what different do we have to do? What this also puts team members in a spot is that what they're asked to do is a little unsettling. It's a little different. Is there a way that both team leaders can address that better, and team members can accept it better? So if you could, probably throw a little light on that.
Sure. Thanks, Kirti. So like I said, the first thing is accepting it that we have to do this. This is the new normal. We can't go away from it. If we have to survive and thrive in this environment, then we got to drop our hang-ups and say, I don't want to do it this way. We not used to do it this way, but this is the way it is happening. People who are going to adapt very quickly. I think all of us have studied Darwin's law of natural selection in school, right? Survival of the fittest. This is a time where it is being played for human beings and businesses. Survival of the fittest for the businesses which are going to adapt very quickly. Team leaders who are going to take extreme ownership, and team members who are going to step and saying, I don't know how to do it, but train me how to do this. Let me put that extra effort to learn this
Right.
because it's going to make me a better member.
Yeah.
Yes, Kirti.
Yes. All right. There are some things all of us could probably learn from. I would also say that, this also puts team leaders in a good situation, I hope I'm audible. Yeah. So
No, yeah.
it's a difficult time to maneuver their day. While all of us believe in planning forward, setting a calendar, there are things that can probably put the plan, the machinery a little off track. Uh, what do you think at this time can help team leads uh, either cope up with it better, or something that can help manage it better?
Okay. So there's a two-part question. So I'll take the coping up first. The coping up is that there is a rule called 5 minutes, 5-minute rule, yeah, which says that if you're upset about something, brood, cry, yell, swear, do whatever you need to do for 5 minutes, and then just move on. Yeah. So you got to apply. A leader has to apply that 5-minute rule. That crying is not going to help me. I get to move on, and there are more people responsible to me. They're looking up to me. So you got to shape up very quickly.
Right.
Second is about prioritization, because everything cannot be done in this time frame. If you're thinking that you all can do everything and make people work for 10 hours, keep people engaged and get them productivity, I think that's going to burn them out. That's going to frustrate them. So look at the highest possible priorities that are business critical and focus on those first. Don't try to do everything. If it is making sure people want to do, especially if you look at events industry, and we are having an event right now on Zoom, which is an event of its sort. Maybe it's 1 hour, 1.5 hours. It's not as gala as it could be in auditorium. But now this is what the auditorium is. I have a blank screen behind me, a green screen, and I'm sitting in an environment as if I have a big library, but it is not my real library. It's a photo. Yeah. But that's what's
Right.
making me learn. So priority, that's what I'll say. Prioritize.
Okay. That I think again is one more learning all of us can have. So not just plan but also prioritize. Again, as a leader, I would say, or to put that across that way, I would say other concern in working remotely is sometimes the lack of empathy. And is there a way somebody can build in a better outlook towards empathy? And if you could throw some light on that.
So the way one can look at empathy is that just start practicing it. Some people are not good at it. Yeah. Some people find it extremely, because empathy, the moment you said, it's like emotion, it's a weak sentiment. How can I do it? But when you are a leader, you got to have the skill. This is a new currency of this world now, emotional empathy. If you don't have it, people are going to work for you for some time, but the next opportunity they get outside this environment, they are going to scoot. So they will stay with you for some time, but if you don't build that muscle now, even if you don't know how to do it, just start doing it. But emotional empathy, there is no other choice but to start doing it. I'll give you another way of tackling this is that we do this when we do sales, right? We try to think what the customer is thinking about. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So when we do it with our own team members, our own teams, start thinking what people are thinking. Second level is start thinking what people are feeling. And then look at how we can impact that feeling. If you can, and that will happen only if you know your team members well. If you're only used to getting work done from people, then you are passing on orders and you are a regimented leader. You are efficient, you are bringing results out, but you are not a personable person, so to speak. So once you get to know people more closely, you know
Right.
what makes me tick. So you will tell Mac, do this way. I think I'll need it from you, and I'll do it for you as a leader. So something of that sort.
Right. Okay. Thank you. I have two more things, and these are probably uh, one that is to do with how is it that we can currently adapt. So all of us are used to this fast pace of life. So we've discussed that you need to accept, you need to create a schedule, prioritize, do all of that. But there are still times where people get either underwhelmed or overwhelmed. Is there a way to ensure that uh, we can handle it better, we can deal with it better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, we can deal with it better, and I think Indian culture has always had that in us. Somehow we have all gone away from it, and it is as simple as doing some breathing exercises or meditating on an everyday basis. Now, this might sound very cliche, but it actually really works. It's like rebooting your system every time you are overwhelmed or underwhelmed. It's like pressing Control Alt Delete, but with your
Mm-hmm.
own brain. So if people
Right.
don't have a habit of meditating doesn't mean you have to sit under a tree and cross-legged and think about or not think about things and be serene. It could be just 5 minutes deep breathing and taking your thoughts away from what is bothering you, whether it is underwhelm or overwhelm, and you can reset yourself. If things are not happening the way you want, just go away from it. Just keep it aside.
Right.
Like I said, we are not superhumans. We are not supposed to be able to learn this so quickly that we are uh, producing great results. We got to give ourselves a little less slack. Also, we got to say, okay, it's all right to be in this situation. It's not. Don't be guilty about it. Just sit quietly and do something else. Play with the kid. Watch a movie. I think today the hottest thing is Money Heist that everybody is watching. Watch that
Yeah.
and see if you look like the professor or somebody else. Do that.
Yeah. So that's all the world traveling we are doing between all those characters.
Correct.
If you've seen a part of it, so from Tokyo to Berlin, that's what everybody is doing. That's the only traveling. Um, all right. So and my last question. Yeah.
I wanted to add something around this,
Sure.
and this is something which is I think all the office goers on this call will connect with it. We are all so used to distractions in our office work or in our field work. We don't call them distractions. We call them part of our job, which is going and gossiping for some time, bitching about somebody, yeah, having a smoke in the corridor or outside the building if it's not allowed, drinking some coffee, sitting in the canteen for long and laughing and yapping about things. We are not able to do this. The only thing that we are able to do on a laptop or a computer or a phone is work, and that is bothering more people more than the work itself, because that in between distractions, as we call it. So if you could schedule such kind of distractions within your home with family members or even with your teammates, let's get on a Zoom call, which is unofficial Zoom call, and bitch about things. Yeah, do that, no problem. Don't record it, just be careful about it. That's all. Yeah.
So anything that lets you get off that feling should be
Absolutely.
good.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. I think you've given a lot of people some ideas on this call. And I think my last one before I hand it over to Sujit
Yeah.
would be that, when life gets back on track, all of us, so even if we learn to meditate, we learn to accept, we learn to acknowledge things, the minute life gets back on track, uh, all of us are going to leave some parts of it, pick up some things that we don't like to do, but still will end up doing that. So if you could tell us, or probably spend some time and tell us that what are those things that this shift, because it was a shift which was probably easier to come back home,
Yep.
but going back to office is probably going to be a little more difficult. So
Yeah.
if you could spend some time and tell us what is it that we can do to probably center ourselves.
Right. Yeah. So currently, I think most of us are like that dog with its tail in a pipe. Yeah, it's all straight at the moment. Yeah, and there's the moment the pipe of the lockdown is going to be pulled out, the tail is going to curl. Yeah. So, and that's a trap that we all are going to be in. And the one way of dealing with that is reflections. Is in at the end of every day, take 5 to 10 minutes and sit and say, what did I achieve in today's day? How did I behave? How is it helping me? And what has changed in me? Again, these are not cliched solutions. These are very, very workable solutions. 5 minutes, piece of paper, and say, how did I feel today? Did I do something differently today which actually helped me? Can I bring it into practice? Because if you're doing it for 10, 12 days in a row, it automatically becomes a practice. Now we're getting used to the home environment and don't want to travel because nobody is driving, nobody is going in busy trains, and then you're going to resist going to office. But I suppose the lockdown is going to be lifted in staggered manner. Ease yourself out into this situation. Don't try to be again a superhuman and jump full on and full girdle when they say, I'm back, I'm going to do this. And no, don't do that. It's not going to help you. It's going to actually put you into a burnout situation because you'll try to do more than what is expected out of you. So just be simple, just be calm. To me, it is business as usual. We are just doing it from a different place. Now we're going to do it from a new place when we go back to office. Don't treat this any different. Just take the best learnings out of it and apply it in your life.
Right. Thank you for this. And I'm going to hand this over to Sujit for a bit till the time I go back and look at the questions. Guys, please feel free to type in your questions so that we can ask it.
Thanks, Kirti.
Makarand, always a pleasure listening to you. Yeah, an interesting presentation. Sets me also to think about certain things the way I go about conducting my life and behaving. I had certain questions which probably from your presentation also have come out, and generally knowing you also, I had certain questions for you, which is, in this kind of a situation where, we want people to have a work-life balance, is there a role that the organization can play? Because currently everybody is at home, or is it that individuals have to find their own equilibrium at doing the whole work-life balance? What's your take?
Can the organization play a part in creating the work-life balance? Is that what you're asking?
That's right. That's right. Or is it individuals will have to find it because we're in an earlier situation where organization, where you were going to office, it was still, there was something which the organization had in their control.
Mm-hmm.
But in today's situation, the organization doesn't have control beyond, tasks and workloads which they are giving. Is there something that they can do beyond which will help people get their work-life balance, or do individuals need to find their own work-life balance at home?
So I think both can do it. The individual has to primarily do it in their lifestyle and what they're doing. So the responsibility rests on the individual first. What the organization can do is not bombard people with work. Yeah, I know one of my clients, they have said that they will not schedule any calls till 12 in the noon. The reason being, most people are going out to buy groceries and shops are open only until noon or 11:30. So they have told that we will not have any conference calls or any work-related activity before 12 o'clock. And work will happen between 12 and 5 so that they can have pre-hours and post-hours for the family. Now that's a very, very good decision an organization has made, because it is expecting and telling the person that we respect your situation, and the organization doesn't expect you to work all the 8, 9, 10 hours or 24 hours at your home. Yes, whatever you're doing, do it the best way. Be accountable, communicate, be transparent. So one way is scheduling times for calls. Another is not having long 5-hour, 3-hour Zoom sessions of strategizing or training sessions which are long, which bore people out, because that's not going to engage people. You will be having attendees, but you will only have bodies. You will have people on mute, not on camera, and doing things that they want to do. So try to do things in 20-minute packets, 25-minute packets, 30-minute packets. Take breaks. Just like you used to do in a conference room, speak for half an hour, 45 minutes, go out, take a bio break, go out for a smoke if you smoke, go out for a swig of water or a juice, and come back in. So that's helping them create a work-life balance. Again, I am a little different in terms of my personal views that do the work that's necessary to be done at this moment, and don't try to do everything that you have to do. So prioritize and give weightage on the business critical work.
Actually, that leads to my second question also, which was you spoke about you should follow the office schedule. Now that you're home, don't stop doing the office schedule. Whereas in today's situation, you have so many other household things to be taken care. There are so many restrictions moving around that. So how does one manage to follow the whole office schedule while at the same time, right from either it could be doing the utensils to buying things from the market to anything that is required in the house,
Correct.
considering the earlier luxuries are no longer available to you. So how do you still manage to find the schedule of the office going at the same time managing these things in your life?
Correct. So again, one is being transparent to people whom you are responsible to, that when you're available and when you're not available. Just because you get a response or an email doesn't mean you have to respond back immediately. Most emails have nothing much to be responded anyways. That's my personal view. But you don't have to act on everything that comes on your plate. Be transparent about your schedules. If you have an open culture where you discuss about stuff that is happening at home, then box your times and this is the best suitable time for me to work on. Again, Sujit, it also depends on the kind of roles that each one is playing. If you are in a higher leadership position, then there is higher responsibility. You are responsible for more things compared to somebody down the line because they are supposed to get things done. But higher up has other business continuity responsibilities. So there are people whom I know are working for 13, 14 hours straight and are getting exhausted because they are responsible, they are in high leadership positions. So the only way to do that is take breaks and tell people that I need to have a 1 hour gap. Yeah, I know people who are actually sleeping in the afternoon for 1 hour during lunchtime. Yeah, and catching up on an afternoon nap. It's good to be actually really sleeping than sleeping on work, which most people do in an office environment, which is wasting time. So to answer your question, schedule it on your calendar. If you have to do your utensils, don't put on your Outlook that I'm doing utensils, but tell people I'm unavailable for certain activities for this 1.5 hours, and people understand. I think it's all about respecting each other's boundaries and responsibilities. People are mature to understand that.
So, considering you have a household work to be done, you have office work to be done.
Yeah.
At the same time, in our industry, we're all trying to innovate and find new ways of
Mhm.
doing things. So, I have two questions in terms of innovation, which is one is, when we talk about innovation, we tell people to innovate. Is it something that they need to be given guidance to innovate, or they need to find their own way of innovation? That is number one. And number two is, when you have all of these to be done and you have to still find new ways of doing things, considering the world tomorrow maybe behaving a little bit more different than what it was earlier,
Mhm.
how do you kind of manage to find that time, because you still want to keep your time restricted to that many hours?
True. Okay, so I'll take the first question about innovation. Uh, 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 yeah, everybody will ask you to be creative and find a solution on your own, and then expect you to come out with the solution by 5 o'clock in the evening, or next Monday morning, or something like that. We need to give guidance to people of what can be done, how it can be done, and it's best to work in teams in this situation and not do solo work. There is a principle which came about in World War II, or a team that came about in World War II called Skunk Works. This was a team which was pioneered by Lockheed Martin, the aviation company, and also the ammunition company. And they created a group of people from cross-functional teams to come together to innovate and find solutions that they were, or the problems that they were dealing with. These were people from different diverse backgrounds. Not everybody was an engineer, but they came together to identify things that could be good for the organization and good for the customer. In Lockheed Martin case, how can we kill the enemy faster, which was Nazis at that time. And Skunkworks is a way of doing this, creating mini teams, small, even in Zoom right now, we have an opportunity of creating breakout rooms. You can assign people and give them a certain guidance saying that we have this problem on hand and we want to find a way of doing this. And here's 20 minutes, teams of 5 come back with 3 points and only one person speaks about it. And when they do about it, let them deal with it. You can walk around the facilitation in terms of moving around the innovative team groups and find out what they're doing, guide them if they're going in a different direction. And at the end of an hour, convene and say, okay, here are 5 things that we could do. And then as a leadership, decide whether these are possible, whether we have resources, whether we have the money, or whether somebody will approve it for us to do it. But yes, it's a guided mechanism. It's not go solo. It doesn't work. Not everybody is as creative as they claim to be. Yeah. Your second question was about, I'm sorry,
It
I
was
missed the
about
question.
doing all of these things and then also finding time to research, do something new, innovate, so that when you come back for a meeting, you look like you've done some work and you're not just doing tasks.
Correct. So again, I'm going to give cliche solution after cliche, but these are ones that work and I advocate to my clients and I practice them. Is that if you have to do those thinking, uh, great leaders always think before the world wakes up. Yeah. And if you want to do that thinking or forward thinking or look into the future, then you have to either do it in the quiet of the night when everybody is sleeping, or you got to wake up a little early and do it when everybody is sleeping. It cannot happen during the daytime. There are some CEOs who have blocked hours in the day, or some leaders who have 2 hour slots in a day, where they just think about their business. They don't look at emails, they don't look at their laptops. They just sit and ideate of what can happen in their business for the future. Now that's a discipline. If you don't have that discipline from the previous work style, it is a time that you can develop it right now, like blocking slots and saying I'm not available between on Wednesday between 3 and 4, unless there is an important client meeting or an important conference call which needs to be taken. Just don't be available to people. Block your time for thinking. I'm telling you, the world can work without us. We have this myth that I need to be present for my team, for my company 24 by 7, and only then it works. That's a myth. Things people figure out. People figure out solutions if you are not available. Sometimes the boss himself is the problem. If he steps out, things get done very well. I think I have experienced it, and I think we all know about it.
I think
Now
my
is the
team would
time.
agree with it.
I wish I could say their faces right now. Yeah.
Another thing which I wanted to, which probably you may have covered, but not in depth, is to get an inspiration, which is a situation where you've seen things going bad and how through that situation you could still recover and come back and do better things. I'm drawing the whole story of, if you read the book Who Moved My Cheese,
Yeah.
where you forever been finding your cheese at a particular place, but now the cheese is no longer going to be coming there, and you have to find newer ways of getting your cheese.
Mhm.
So in real life situations or examples that you've come across where, for us, then, like, it relates to us because we've been doing our work in a particular manner, and maybe for some time to come the work may not happen in that manner. We may have to look at a newer way of doing things. So
Correct.
is there anything that you encountered and how that happened?
Yeah, so I think it's a great question in terms of uh, things that worked in the past suddenly are no longer working, and we need to reinvent ourselves. And we were all, most of us were in inertia, and if we understand physics, inertia is only broken when external force comes into play, right? This external force currently is the lockdown. Now, if we can actually create means and ways in our own lifestyle, in our own working, to create that inertia breaking moments and practice it regularly to disrupt our own self and look at changing our business patterns, the way we do business regularly, I think we will be more adapted to handle this kind of situation. Some organizations immediately rose up to the challenge and could revert back very, very quickly. Some were struggling because they never thought that something like this will happen. Uh, there are always signs which come much before the actual tsunami comes. So if you look at it, when the actual tsunami came, the birds started going, the cattle started going inwards, the animals started behaving in a certain way. We have to look for those signs. So in business, we'll call them lead indicators. There are lead indicators which tell us that some things are going to change in the future. Now, to act on those lead indicators, people become lazy. They say, I knew something like this happened. Yes, hota hai, hoega. Lekin mere sath nahi hoega. That is the belief that we all carry. But I think we should look at disrupting our own businesses time and again, because if you look at this time, and I just did a presentation on some group of students some days back, and I was researching on this. And 2008, when the housing collapse happened in the US and the economic crash, the Lehman Brothers, Uber came during that time. Airbnb came out during that time. These businesses did not exist. They found those opportunities and reinvented it. And hotel industry was caught napping. Nobody thought that an Airbnb will come and take away hotel rooms from a Marriott or some other industry. But if you look at, and I know your industry, events industry, What's changing in the events industry is how can we still deliver the same amount of experience in a manner which is non-physical at the moment. Digital is one, so Zoom is one way of doing it. Is there any other technological tool that is available that can help us stand out with our competition? We don't know. Probably we'll have to research. There are telepresence tools which are available. People are already using telepresence in their work today. Now telepresence will become normal because everybody wants it. Some things which are shown in movies, like the Iron Man movie where they do this, that, yeah. When Robert Downey Jr. comes and says and puts his Iron Man thing. Now those things are actually happening in scientific labs, but they will come mainstream now. And it's who will adapt that faster is going to make that thing work. VR, AR, AI is going to be coming in big way now. Yeah, I think events industry can adapt that too. You'll have to think over it. You're on mute, Sujit.
My last question is going to be a more business question.
Yes, okay.
Two, one is from your experience, and second is the current scenarios. First, I'll talk about the current scenario, which is, now after this whole thing where the market is hit, and when as a service industry we go back to clients. Now you spoke about standing up to and not being pushed over, and whether the balance is there between both of them, and that's where it makes more business sense to do business.
Correct.
But this is a time where everybody is trying to be going to be a pushover, and a lot of us from the service industry at this point are also looking at business as the module. As to getting business becomes a bigger priority. So how do you face those kind of situations where you don't lose your respect, at the same time you make more business sense?
Okay, so this is okay. So this all comes down to a science, which is negotiation, because that's where the deals are either making or breaking, right? Yeah, and we all need to be expert negotiators in this situation. I can recommend one book which all of you can read. And I will talk about it a little bit, which is written by an FBI negotiator called Chris Voss. There are YouTube videos about it. So if everybody has notes, I can put it in the chat box also. Chris Voss, and it's a lovely book. The title eludes me. Negotiate as if my life depended on it. That's what it meant. And I think that's what it is. Negotiate as if our business depended on it. And he talks about one thing is about asking and labeling situations, that even before the customer says something, you tell the customer saying that, oh, I think you might be thinking this is happening, right? And the customer is going to say things in the affirmative or in the negative. So when they are pushing you over and asking you to do something, the only question that you can give back is saying, how do you expect me to do this? You're actually asking me to do it in this price? Really? And give a pause, just keep quiet, because now you're not in front of a customer, maybe you're on a video, but you say, are you really asking me to do this in this price? Are you sure? Did I hear you correctly? And that pushes the customer back. I hope there are no customers on this call, your customers, yeah, they will learn also. So, and what will make them, that they also know that they are being.
We have only humans on this call, so whoever they are, they're all humans.
No, I'm just kidding. So, yeah, everybody can use this. It's open for all. So if you are actually, everybody knows they are being unreasonable. They are asking for the moon because they'll get something out of it. Because everybody wants to save and spend less so that they can utilize for a longer period of time. They want to stretch the money further. Yeah? Now, first thing that can happen as a leader, and I'll speak for as you are talking from this industry, events industry, you got to give your team the leverage of what is possible and what is not possible. Those rules have to be extremely explicitly mentioned to all the sales team members, whichever sales team they are, events or any other, that this is possible, this is not. It's not that pooch ke batata hu. I'll go back and ask. Let people get empowered and saying that this is possible, and if beyond that it is not happening, let it break. Trust me, the client you will lose an order, but you will not lose a customer. There's a difference between losing an order and losing an account or a customer. You might lose an event that is happening in the next month or 3 months down the road, and that might be a big deal for you. You have been working for it for a long time, but you might not lose a customer because you maintain your respect, saying, I can't do this. I have families to feed. I have people responsible to me. I have a 200-member team. I can't do an event at this price. If somebody is doing that, God bless you, do it. but let me know how it went. I'll come back to you. I'm available for anything else, but I can't do this. I am sure you will understand. And I'll do it this way. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So my second question again is business, and taking from your experience, you've been into sales and developing business, and that too with the medical fraternity, which is a very tough market as such.
Yes.
And being there into sales, what has been your mantra of success? What are the things that you followed to say that this is a great sale? And at times you must have given up a sale also, but that's
Yep.
probably resulted in the client respecting you and what you spoke about also.
Correct.
So if you can share some examples or of things that you went about doing,
Okay.
can help us.
Yeah, sure. I can see some of my colleagues and people from the medical fraternity on the call. So I'm sure they will agree with this. Is that my mantra for doing sales in the healthcare industry and the medical industry was that you have to learn your product thoroughly well first. You have to have tremendous confidence and belief in the organization that you work for, that they are having the best product. And you have to do a fitment of the product that you have and the client problem that the client has. My product is the best one to solve it. If it isn't, don't sell. Don't even attempt doing it now. And that's my personal philosophy. And I have been a good salesman in my life, in my career, managing key accounts. But if the client, the solution doesn't fit right, just don't give it to him. Unless and you understand the client's need thoroughly and believe in your product, believe in your organization, and first believe in yourself that whatever you're doing is the right thing to be done, customers buy from you. Nobody likes to be sold to. I think this is something that we all have learned, but some of us don't follow. Nobody likes to be sold to. People like to buy. Nobody likes to be sold to. So the way I look at it, my success has come from just ambling into a client's place and just being myself and seeing how I can solve their problems, and I can solve them at a better price, making money for my company, making money for the client. Everybody's happy at the end of the day. I'm not being a pushover. I have lost deals, and I have customers come back to me after few years, waited for 5 years sometimes, but never lost a customer.
This could be a tricky question I'm asking you because maybe your clients are there on this.
Yeah,
Was
yeah.
it first making money for the organization and then making money for the customer, or was it the other way around?
No, I don't. It was not making money just for the organization, and I'll be very honest about it. It's about making the right amount of money which is suitable for that. Unless the customer sees the value, uh, every product becomes expensive if the customer doesn't see value in it. So if you are not able to establish real value, not perceptive value, and fake it and give them something which is hunky dory, unless you build value fully, customer is willing to give the price. All customers are willing to give more than what you're actually selling at. Trust me. That's my personal belief. They just ask less, but they're willing to give you more. I can get challenged on this by anybody on this call. Yes.
Okay. Some last few quarantine questions. Yeah.
Quarantine. Okay.
Which is, what are you watching these days apart
Okay.
from Money Heist?
No, I'm not watching Money Heist. I'm just seeing people get, somebody's becoming professor and somebody's becoming Nairobi and somebody's, I don't know what the program is, so I'm still not fallen prey to it. Okay, what I have watched, and I'll do some good recommendation. I'm watching. I ultimately took Netflix, so I had stayed away from Netflix for a long, long time. So on Fool's Day, my son convinced me, or rather threatened me, in a nice way, that please take it now. I'm home. I need to watch something. So I ultimately took Netflix, and I have watched in the last 15 days Two Popes, which is a movie about two popes who got a change of leadership. Beautiful movie if you want to learn how masters work, two masterful actors, and what happens in the pope's mind when he's making decisions. Again, a very, very learning thing. I have watched something which is related to on Amazon Prime, which is the Test cricket for Australian cricket. Some of us probably are cricket fans, and Australia had a bad incident when some guys were barred because of the ball tampering. How Australian team came back and won the Ashes. It's a nice 8-part series. It's a lovely coaching series, and I loved it from a coach's point of view because I learned something from Justin Langer of how he was managing things for his team. And the best thing that I have watched so far is Winston Churchill's movie The Last Hour or The Darkest Hour, which was about World War II, when Britain made him the prime minister because nobody else wanted to become a prime minister at that time. I think that's the best movie to be watched in this time. We all leaders are in a moment of Winston Churchill's dilemma. Nobody wants to be the leader at this moment, right? We all want directions. So great things to learn, that you can't give up. You need to be innovative. And if you have not seen the movie, then he got the people stuck at Dunkirk on that island, and there's a movie about Dunkirk as
I've
well.
watched Dunkirk. Yeah.
Yeah, of how private ships and boats got the
Yeah.
entire cavalry back into the country when the big ships couldn't go there. So innovation right at that place, yeah, with lives involved. Yeah, 300,000 people's lives involved. So big decision. Yeah. Yep.
And the wonderful background which you have. So, what
Yes.
are the books that you're reading?
Okay, so the books that I'm reading currently, I've been reading something with related to Stoicism, uh, which is Letters by Seneca. If you would like to have they are available freely available on the net on a blogger called Tim Ferriss. You can freely download those books. These are letters written by Seneca the Stoic to one of his disciples or admirers, and it's all about life lessons. So each letter is talking about different things about life. Very, very beautiful. So Letters of Seneca is what I'm reading.
So, thank you so much, Makarand. And I think, Ketki, if you have some questions from the.
Right. I do have a couple, and may I just say before I go there, we started with Buddha and clearing the mind. We delved a little into business and how that still needs to keep going. What can the organization do? And some great recommendations that all of us are going to, pick up from. So I'm gonna go right from the first one that I've received. This is from Vipin, and he's asking that is there. So he said that it was a nice presentation, and it talks about a lot of productivity that we can do in this current situation. But is there any other way to have very effectively in current situation?
Sorry, I lost
He's
your
asking. I think,
effectively what? I lost.
Sorry, he's connecting to the clients.
Effective connecting to the client. Effective way of connecting to the client. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah. And sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't get the name of the person who asked the question.
This is Vipin.
Vipin. So Vipin, thank you very much for the question. Your question is about, is there a good way or effective way of connecting with clients, right? The only way to connect with clients is not try to be selling to them at this moment. These are standard etiquettes always, because now we are calling people at times that we don't know whether they are busy or available. So the best thing is to either preempt and seek an appointment. These are basic etiquette rules which probably we followed before also, can continue, but not making this call about the work as we start, but making about the person and saying that how are things with you, sir or madam, what's happening around you. So making sure that you spend some amount of time knowing the person and how they are dealing with this, and then come to the business agenda. Not directly getting into the business agenda, I'm calling in for this purpose and we discuss this. Yes, that's going to happen. They all know, we know, but the best way of doing it is being compassionate about it and talking to the person, and not just for the job to be getting done. Does that answer your question? I don't know if they're still on the call. Yeah.
So, all right, it does. And the next question I have, and I hope I'm audible at this point.
Yes,
you guys can still hear me, right?
Yes.
There is some bandwidth issue, but more or less you're audible.
Yeah, I think we will have to work through this. So the next question I have is from Rajendra, and he's asking, is there a checklist for work-life balance? Should it be there to get more objective?
Is there a checklist? Should it be what?
Should there, I'm saying, the question is there a checklist that one should follow to bring about life balance? And should it be there to make it more so to achieve, I think, goals in a better way?
So yes and no, Rajendran. There is no checklist which is available in the market. I wish we had. There's no. You will have to make one of what is important to you. What we all have realized in this current times is that there is so much unnecessary things that we were doing, which we felt were necessary to be done. Yeah, and if we can prioritize what is important to your life and stick to those things and be regimented and disciplined about it, that will bring in balance in your life. So making a list is very, very nice. It's good to look at what is important to you in your life sphere at this moment, whether it is business, family members, spouse, relationships, and seeing how much time and energy are you devoting around this. Work-life balance is not about dividing it into a pie chart that 2 hours I'm going to give my wife and 3 hours I'm going to give my office. It's not about that. It's about being everywhere. Whenever you're there, you're fully present. That when you're working, you're not worrying about what's happening at home. You're fully present at work. When you're at home, you're not worrying about what's happening at work. Is the person doing what I have told them to do, or I have not completed activity? You're fully present in the moment that you're in. Only then you will have balance. And making a checklist keeps us on our toes to know that we are spending time around it. Yeah. There is one tool which I can recommend, which was pioneered by a great executive coach called Marshall Goldsmith, and I also recommend it to a lot of my clients. It's called checking yourself at the end of the day. Did I do my best to? So you ask yourself a question. If your balance is about, did I do my best to spend time with my family? Did I do my best to carry off business in the best possible manner? Could be 10 activities that you have lined about. At the end of the day, just check mark or give yourself a rating. From 1 to 10, I did 5. On maintaining relationships, I was 3. Over 3 weeks, you will come to know that you are kidding yourself, that you think my relationships are the most important thing in my life, but you're giving yourself a score of 3 every day or 2 every day. That means you're cheating yourself, not anybody else. You need to do some changes in your lifestyle to bring that score from 3 to 3.5 and then 4 and then 4.5. It won't go from 3 to 5 or 10. It is incremental, but it happens with discipline and practice. So yes, a checklist, checking what you're doing and being present fully on whatever you're doing or wherever you are.
Right. I hope that answers the question. Now I have two very similar questions, and that's when I'm going to, probably concise them. Both of them talk about at a time where, we need to keep ourselves motivated. It is difficult sometimes to keep control or keep check of our emotions. How is it that, we can still do this if we feel emotionally low? Or is there a way to be emotionally unaffected? So I'm just saying it as it is saying what important here is to be unaffected emotionally, how to do that.
Okay. So you're telling about how do we deal with emotions when we are in a higher state or on a lower state? How do we
Right.
cope with those situations? Yeah. If
Right.
Stoicism can help. So that's what I am reading, and I have read enough about it. It really, really helps. There is a difference between being indifferent and being unaffected. So if you're unaffected, which means you're resilient, you're able to bounce back very quickly. Now that's a good quality to have. But because you become resilient, there is a high chance that you will become less emotional to people's feelings. So it's just not about you, it's about people around you. So you don't live in isolation. If it's just about you, you can find ways and strategies to manage your own emotions. The best way when you're feeling low is take a break. You don't have to bounce back and take a Red Bull and become highly energetic again. It doesn't work that way. If you are not feeling good, take a break, take a pause. Yeah, Rome wasn't built in a day. All of us know that. Take a pause, be resilient, observe what's happening with you, check with your feelings. Why are you feeling it the way you're feeling? It probably is not the emotion, but there's something underlying which is bothering you, which is making you behave in a certain fashion. If you can reach the source and handle the source, there's a high chance you will handle the emotions more effectively. As far as looking at others, show empathy and compassion. So everybody is in the same boat at the moment. Just as you are dealing with it, all of us are also dealing with the same way. So be a little more kinder to people. Be kind to yourself. And when you are going to burst out of anger, a lot of people have got less, or what you call fuses, right? They get short fuses, as we call them. This is going to get them out or expose these people. So if you are one of that person who has a very short fuse and tend to break out into an anger, learn to be patient. And if you're angry, just do something. Just give yourself a cue of not doing things and saying a word or saying something and saying, take a pause and stop yourself from reacting in that situation and let it slide down. It won't happen easily, but you have to practice it, that when you're angry, you'll say, okay, let me come back to you after 10 minutes about this, and take a break. Shut out from that call, take a pause, go on mute, do whatever you need to do, but don't burst out with anger, because that's not going to help anyone. It's not going to help you. It's not going to help anybody else around you. Ketka, I hope I have answered it to the way the question was phrased. Okay.
Right.
Thanks.
And I think there's one last one that, oh no, there are more. Okay, so this one says, this one comes from the space of, having so much pressure to always be productive or to learn a new skill. Also a little humor by saying making the dalgona coffee. Do you think sometimes just doing nothing would be good too? So I think you just answered it, but, for people who are feeling that way.
So I will say doing nothing is, if somebody can actually be doing nothing and be completely calm in that situation, I think, my friend, you have achieved enlightenment. Because doing nothing is a good thing to not do also, or do also, whichever you look at it. It's kind of a confusing statement. Just don't do anything. Just sit and listen to music, or not even listen to music. Sleep, dream, be yourself. There's no need to be productive and learning skills. None of us are going to fly rockets the moment we come out of this, by the way. Okay, even if NASA gives us a free course on how to build a rocket, none of us are going to do that. We just get the science behind it, but we are not going to be scientists just because we did a 10-hour course on a free website. It's not going to happen. We just will know something more that we never knew. We are going to be more knowledgeable or more wise. So have fun. Don't be too serious. Like the Joker says, right, in The Dark Knight, why so serious? So don't be so serious. Have fun.
Awesome, thank you. And that's I think why I put it across again, even though you had answered it. And I think the last one here that we have now says that from a sales leader perspective, prioritize to tool or skill to be acquired, or if you can prioritize and tell them two tools or skills that can be acquired with the current change in environment.
For a selling professional, for a sales professional?
Yes.
Okay. So one is negotiation, because negotiation is going to get tougher the moment we come out of this. Or right, Sujit also asked about the same question. People are going to ask you more in less, and that's going to be a norm. Not because they are loving it, but that's because their situation is going to be tougher. So you got to negotiate internally as well as externally with the client and within your organization to get something more from your management. So negotiation is one skill that you can learn. And the best way to learn this is doing mock sessions on Zoom with your teammates, and creating customer situations which you might feel might come up are already coming up currently or will come up in the future, and practicing various ways of dealing with them. Somebody becoming a customer and becoming a tough one, and another guy trying to convince the customer or finding a way out. If you keep doing those, honing those skills, I think that will come in handy. If that's, I think, the one skill that I would definitely recommend everyone to learn. Or if you have it already, make it masterful. So negotiation is one which is the most critical.
Right. So I think that asks for two. If there's one.
No, one more thing, and I think this will make the bosses happy. If all of you are on some kind of CRMs, whether it's SFDC or some other site of CRM tools, this is a time to populate all the fields that you never wanted to fill. Yeah, because the CRMs are built to manage customers and your relationship with customers and your understanding of your customers. So populate your SFDCs or any other sales forces or CRM software that we have. Learn them, why they are built the way they are built, and start utilizing them, because trust me, they will be extremely handy when you start populating customer information in those softwares. They are made for you to succeed. So please start using those. So that's, I wouldn't call it a skill, but I will say please do those.
Right. Awesome. I think those are all the questions that we would want to ask here. And I'm sure he's available to answer more of your questions on his social media platforms. Thank you. I think with this, I would, hand this over to Sujit, and also request Nisha to share her screen.
Thank you.
So
Oh,
thank you so very much, Makarand, for doing this session. I'm sure it's going to help us a lot. And I think every time we're going to look at succeeding and celebrating that, we're going to remember you for that.
thank you so much.
And wish you also all the very best. If you want to, any final statements that you want to give, looking at life in the post-COVID situation, please go ahead.
So thanks, Sujit, for allowing this platform, and thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Ketki. Thank you, Anshuman. Thank you, Nisha, for sharing this wonderful photo of mine. It looks nice to look at myself. The one thing that I would like to share, and this is something which people who know me, and Sujit, I think you know me for the longest duration. I believe in something which is very, very dear to me. Sab maya hai. So don't take yourself too seriously. All of this will also change. Everything is a passing illusion. Just learn to deal with this illusion in a more stronger way. And then you'll have a new illusion coming outside, and we'll deal with it from 3rd May onwards. So sab maya hai. Stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Bye-bye. Cheers.
Cheers.